And today's guest, we've got a top G, man. Andrew Tate, how are you?
It's been a while, friend.
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years. Is that how long it's been?
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy how life has changed in 2 short years. It's only been 2 years?
2 years.
Wow. Crazy.
2 years, mate. If I probably thought that it was me who'd been in and out of prison, mate, but it's yourself.
First time for everything. I mean, that was an experience. Certainly interesting. I've only ever been arrested once before in my life. And then the second time I was arrested, I had to do a nice long stint in a Romanian jail cell. So that was certainly an interesting experience. But all you can do is learn from it and move forward, right?
Did you ever realise how big you would have got, the most Googled man on the planet? Worldwide news yesterday. Did you ever see that vision?
No. I mean, I knew I'd be big and I knew I had a message. I knew that people would pay attention to it. But the idea that I'd become the most famous man in the world, I didn't see. But I think the reason that's happened is because I've become an anti-hero. But to be a hero, you need to have an enemy. And my enemies have made themselves so visible. And I've also called for a very long time the moves my enemies were going to make. And they continue to prove me right. And when they prove me right, they prove their existence, right? If I sit there and say, the Matrix is after me and the Matrix is going to do this, and then it happens, well, then they prove their existence. So I am now in the middle of a battle, and battles are certainly entertaining. They've always been entertaining. And I'm not just an influencer. I'm a guy who's engrossed in a battle. And I think a lot of people find affinity in my message and understand that me fighting this war is in many ways fighting for all the men on earth. It could happen to anybody. So they've made me bigger and bigger. And it's kind of like the attempt to shrink me and destroy me has done the absolute opposite. And here I am.
So what was the connection with you and Greta Thunberg? Was that any connection, or was it just blown out of proportion?
I think it was blown out of proportion because that was the day I came here to pack clothes and then I got arrested. I think it was blown out of proportion, but Greta is certainly one of the protected class. I don't think many people at home realize, and I'm going to try and explain it as simply as possible, that once you get to a certain level of fame and wealth, the people who are in charge of the world want to also be in charge of you. Because once they're in charge of you, they can allow you to exist because you'll push their narratives. And for you to join their team, you have to sell your sanity. You have sanity inside of your mind. You're a sane person. You're a hardworking person. But you have to take that sanity out and sell it. They'll usually give you a large contract for X amount of million for whatever TV station or whatever company or whatever product. You have to take the sanity out of your brain, give them the sanity, and then you'll take the 20 million, and then you'll say, yeah, that is a girl with the balls hanging out of her dress. Put her in the girl prison. You're transphobic. And you have to just sell your sanity, and then you get to join their team. And once you join their team, you're part of the protected class. And the protected class is protected by basically every institution, but especially the media. Look at Philip Schofield. Guy's a groomer.
100%.
Sexual predator. And look, after 24 hours, they're printing photos saying, leave him alone, his mental health, he's on the edge, poor Philip Schofield. Me, 14 months in, human trafficker, rapist, I haven't even been convicted. Human trafficker, rapist in Romania, must go to jail, rapist, all day, every day. Here's his mother's house. She birthed the rapist. They're attacking me because I'm not joining their team. What most people don't know, and I've tried to make this clear before, and I've said it, I've effectively been offered to sell my sanity many times. You don't become as influential as I am with the kind of impressions I get without large corporations becoming very interested in you. I've had very large companies, which I'm not going to name, come along and say, we want to sponsor you. We want you to sell our product. You have to tone down your opinions. Don't talk about this. Don't say this. Don't say this. Don't say this. If you're asked about this, say it this way, and we'll give you $25 million and you'll shake the product around. And I said, no, I don't want your money. And they were kind of like, okay, well, your decision. Now, if I was sponsored by a very, very large company, those very, very large companies wouldn't allow the media to do to me what they're doing because they'd call the media and say, that's our sponsor. Don't do that. That's our guy. It's all a big club. All I had to do was sell my sanity, James. All I had to do, cut my balls off, take the sanity out my mind and take the money. But I do believe at a certain point of money, I mean, I'm not going to brag, but there's nothing left for me to buy. There's nothing I want I don't have. So I don't really care about money. What I do care about is I feel good inside when I know I'm telling the truth. I feel good inside when I say what I mean. I feel good inside when I wake up and don't feel controlled, when nobody texts my phone and says, you can't say that. I feel good inside when I feel like I'm helping people. That's worth more to me than money. So I never sold out. And if I had, I don't think any of this would happen. I think this is punishment for not selling my soul. I think that's why they're doing this to me.
I'm at this stage where I'm only climbing the ladder. But I've been offered nowhere near 7 figures, but 6 figures to promote alcohol and gambling.
Yep.
Everybody who knows my story and watches my stuff know that I'm drinking drug-free and gambling-free.
Yep.
Not for life, but just the last 5 years.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, when that gets offered to you, I ain't going to lie, I did think about it.
Of course.
I thought about it, and I thought, then that goes everything that I've worked for, everything that I'm trying to believe in myself and try to help others achieve certain things, because a lot of people crave the external stuff to fulfill the internal stuff that's broken inside of them. And part of me, listen, I wanted fame, attention 5 years ago, because I used to see people on magazines and TV, and I thought, that looks like the life.
Yep. We're living in this post-truth world, and now this is all happening to me, and I'd like to think, at least, because I have genuinely suffered. I went to jail, and it was only for 94 days, 3 months, just over 3 months. But I would like to say that Romanian jail is about 5 times of English jail. We can put it down to like 1.5, maybe 2 years, without charge. In English jail, you get to at least leave the room, hang out with the guys. The lads are all right. I'm in nobody. I don't speak Romanian. I'm stuck in my cell. My cell was about this from this table to here. This was my room. I didn't leave for 94 days. I don't get to leave. I lived in there with the cockroaches. I genuinely suffered. I went through a lot. And one of the things that gives me solace is knowing that I suffered for a reason, at least. And I think the reason I suffered is to wake people up to a lot of things about the way the world works. The harder they push this narrative and the less people believe them, the less credibility they're going to have to hurt anybody else. So at least, perhaps, there's a good side to all of this, right? They're going to try every weapon on me to the point where it's so obvious all they do is lie that it's going to be very hard for them to lie again. And hopefully it brings some truth and some honesty to the world. And that's, I guess, where I've been trying to find some solace from the experience overall.
How's this been on your daughters and your kids?
Yeah, that's the worst thing about this. Like, this is not a victimless crime, what's happening to me, because no crime has taken place. And then I'm being persecuted, and that's not a victimless crime. Of course, my brother and I have suffered, but so has my family. My mother suffered, my children have suffered, the mothers of my children have suffered, everyone close to me has suffered. People are suffering because of this. For what? For who? Who are we suffering for? To protect who? People who say we're not victims, this is stupid? Who are we protecting? So yeah, there's been genuine heartbreak and a lot of people crying on my side, which nobody seems to give a shit about. Nobody talks about all the BBC and all these garbage and MSN are constantly attacking me, never talk about my mental health. They talk about Philip Schofield's mental health, of course, after 2 days. After a year of attacking me, they don't talk about my mental health. They don't care about my family. They'll just put her address and dox all my family and just try and get everybody in trouble because I'm not part of the club, right? Because I haven't sold my soul. And there's been a lot of people who suffered. And I think that, in fact, in jail, I said it to Tristan. I said, we're sitting here in this hell, but everyone we love at least is taken care of. At least mom can eat, at least the kids can eat, at least the rents are paid. At least we're suffering because men are built to suffer, but everyone we love is taken care of. That gave me some solace. But the way they've attacked me, they didn't intend for that to be true. They intended for me to be bankrupt. They intended for me to be completely destitute and destroyed. They intended for me to sit in a cell knowing that I can't feed my kids. That's what they wanted to do. Just because I've managed to make sure that didn't happen, that doesn't mean it wasn't their intention. Their intention is purely and truly evil. And it makes you wonder, who are these people who want to operate in this way? Who are these people sleeping well at night? But I guess the world's always kind of been that way, hasn't it?
What was it like getting out? Was it a relief?
Yeah, I wouldn't say getting out of jail was particularly, I wouldn't even say it was relief. It's weird. It's so weird the way the human mind works. If you were in that little submarine at the bottom of the ocean, you'd do anything to not be in that submarine. You'd do anything to not be in that submarine. But all the times they weren't in the submarine, they didn't care. Isn't that amazing? You'd do anything to not be in jail. I'll do anything to not be in jail if I can just get out of jail. And then you get out of jail, a few months go by. It's like another day, isn't it? Isn't it crazy how ungrateful humans are? Think about it. You talked about mental health. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how massively ungrateful the human mind is. Heaven forbid, something bad happens to a family member. You do anything to have them back. How often do you call them?
Yeah, a couple of times a week.
You just don't. Yeah, you just don't give a shit. It's so weird. Jail did give me a few things which I am super thankful for and will always be thankful for. And I made sure in jail, I said, I'm not going to allow myself to ever be ungrateful for these things again. Like a cold drink. Because getting cold drinks was nearly impossible. And I got a cold one, it was a completely different scenario. Or even hot water. You could get hot water once a day for tea. And I was arrested in January. It was freezing. I had hot water, like a hot water bottle. I'd make the most of it. I'd hold it for a while, and then I'd make a tea, and then hold it for a while. So there's certain things now that even when I put the kettle on, I'm like, yeah, okay, hot water is gangster. I like hot water. But in general, yeah, it's kind of amazing how life goes on to a degree. I guess it has to. I guess it's how the human mind adapts. So.
Who was it being away at Christmas, New Year, away from the family, the ones who love you the most?
The worst thing about the New Year thing is me and Tristan were having this long argument about what we're going to do for New Year's. We were sitting there planning it like arrogant millionaires. Let's go to Vegas. No, it's too far. We got this party in Dubai. Yeah, we got this party in Dubai, but I heard Dubai, the traffic's shit. New Year's. We can go to Bali. I don't want to fly that far. Like, we're sitting there like arrogant millionaires complaining about all these options we have all around the world. And then New Year's Eve rolls around and we're in a Romanian jail cell with cockroaches. It's like the ultimate punishment from God for sitting there going, this will be boring. That'll be boring. And I'm just sitting there looking at the cockroaches on the wall. And the song that was playing down the hall, the guards were playing some. Do you remember the Ketchup song? Do you remember that song? Mm-hmm. Hey, ha, hey, it was everywhere for a while. That was on the speaker way down the hall, and there's that song and cockroaches, and I saw the fireworks go as it struck 12, and I was kind of like, and my first thought was, I hope I'm not here next New Year. You know, it's like, is this the first of many? I don't know. It was scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It was scary, but it was a test, I guess.
What do you think life is?
That's a good question. And we can answer it from a very boring way. We can talk about it, that we have a responsibility to reproduce and we should have children. But I think life is many different stages. And I think that at the beginning, especially, and for a long period, you learn. You do learn the whole way through life, but you learn. And once you've learned enough, I think you get to a stage, and I'd like to feel like I'm almost there. Maybe you're 30, maybe at end of your 30s. You've learned enough to implement all of the lessons and live a good life. And then I think once you get older, let's say 60 something plus, you don't live for yourself anymore. You live vicariously through the people you care about. That's what I believe. I think that by the time I'm 60, I'm going to be more interested in what my kids are doing than what I'm doing. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not 60. I'm just guessing. But I think that's what life's all about. I think it goes through different stages. And I've never really seen, and the reason I say this is, the old people I know who are on their deathbeds, they're only sad to die because they're going to miss me. They're not sad for themselves. I don't know if you ever noticed that. They're like, I'm going to miss you. What are you going to be okay? They're worried about you. Like they're living through you so much. They're so vicariously living through you that their concern is for you. They've lived enough. So they kind of get to a point where like, well, I don't want to live. I don't care about me, but are you going to be okay? It's kind of weird. But it was the same thing for me in jail. I'd call my mom and say, are you okay? Is this okay or that? And she goes, I can't believe you call me from a jail and I'm trying to ask if you're okay. And you're saying I'm fine. And all you care about is me. Yeah, because I'm my man. It's kind of what I'm supposed to do, right? Take care of you.
Yeah, when I was in prison at 22, my mum used to come and visit, and I was in a place called D-Hole, but I could see out the back, and I had a boxer dog, and she used to bring him up with my dad. My dad got diagnosed with leukemia, but I used to always put on the brave face, and it still breaks my fucking heart thinking about it, that the torment, because we're the babies, we're the sons.
Yep.
And that's what makes me, I just retired my mum 2 weeks ago, and it's been 4 years, and that's what she deserves. As a man, you want to be alpha. We could talk about masculinity. You taking care of your family is the most alpha thing you can ever do in your 100%, fucking life.
100%. More alpha than any fucking Lamborghini or any garbage. That's the first thing you should do.
Yeah.
First thing you should do is take care of people. That's actually one of the things I think is most broken about Western society. When I see these like nursing homes and stuff, or just people just fobbing their parents off, or kids arguing over who gets the money from the parent when the parent's dead. Like when the parent's still alive and they're all fighting over it. So I just didn't feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm the oldest Tate now that my dad's gone, but I feel like I have a responsibility to take care of my mother and everyone close to me. And I think that men are givers. And as a man, you're going to feel happiest if you're giving. I think we're built to give anyway. If you look at a man who's depressed or really sad, I don't think a lot of them are giving as much as perhaps they should. Or if you look at a man who doesn't have the capability to give. But if you take a man, you put him in an important position, and let's say even me, 110 people rely on me for a wage. I feed thousands of children around the world every single month. I feed kids. It's tatepledge.com. You can see I feed kids in Somalia and Turkey, the earthquake. I was feeding children. If I feel like shopping and spending money, I find myself buying shit for other people. I don't want it for me. I have everything. I like to see, it really is better to give than to receive. I think that's the masculine. The true masculine role is to give things and to make, and the feminine role or the subservient role for a child is to be grateful for it. I think even a relationship is better that way. I love to like have a woman and she can be a spoiled princess as long as she spoils me back with unlimited gratefulness. I want to be, I'm not going to have an entitled, ungrateful woman, but if she's extremely grateful, I like to give. I don't want her to buy me stuff. It's not interesting to me. When Christmas comes, what do men say? I don't want anything. We don't care, do we? We don't want this stuff. So I think the masculine is giving anyway. And you're right. And that's what makes you feel better as a man and happy inside of yourself. And that's one of the things, like I said, gave me the most solace in jail. Every time I heard or spoke to any of the other guys in there and they're talking about the problems they had outside, I was like, you know what? Everybody who has ever relied on me, I haven't let them down. Even though the Matrix has thrown me in a cell, I still haven't let them down. I'm glad I was paranoid enough to set myself up that way. And I'm at the point now where I don't even have a bank account. I don't have anything. I don't own anything. I don't own a house, don't own a bank account, don't own a car. I don't have social media. I have a Twitter account. That's it. I don't have anything. Like, so I've done that particularly and deliberately so that I could be killed.